Today we're going through the picks of who we think the UFC wants as their champion in every weight division. First off, flyweight. Obviously, Joshua Van's the champ now. He beat Pantoja easily. No, he didn't, but he's the champ. And honestly, Pantoja was a great champion, but he wasn't really a star. He was getting up there. He was doing better with the more title defenses, and then eventually he lost to Joshua Van. But Joshua Van is popular. He's pretty popular. If he gets one more win under his belt, he will be a big star as the flyweight champ, and I think that's who the UFC wants. There's also Brendan Moreno, who's a big star, but he hasn't been winning too much. So Joshua Van is the champ now, and I think it's who the UFC want as champ. Bantamweight, pretty fucking obvious. Sean O'Malley. Peter Yan's a good champion, and I think the UFC like Peter Yan. But Sean O'Malley's the pick. If he beats Song Yadong, they're going to give him the title shot at the White House. It'll be sick. We all love Sean O'Malley. And he's an entertaining fighter. That's who the UFC want. Featherweight, we obviously have Volk as the champion, and we all love Volk. But Diego Lopez getting 2 title shots, I think we know who the UFC want as their champion. They really want a Mexican champion for some reason. Obviously, they want to tap into that market. But Diego Lopez isn't even Mexican. He says he is. He was born there. He wasn't born there, but he was raised there or something. I don't know. But they obviously want him as champion. Yeah. Lightweight, we have Ilia Topuria as the champion. And I think the UFC want Ilia to stay the champion, even though he fights once a year. Obviously, he's going through a fucking divorce right now, so that's not great. Ilia versus Paddy is a fight they want to make. They care who wins the fight, but whoever wins that fight becomes the ultimate superstar of the UFC. That is a huge fight, and that's a fight they want to make. They want Paddy to beat Gaethje so badly. Welterweight, we have Islam as the champ. I think they want to keep Islam as the champ as well. The division is stacked. It's stacked, but everyone else in the division is not really champion material, to be honest. They're all good fighters, but they're just not stars. Islam's a star in the UFC. To casuals who don't really watch the sport, they don't really know Islam as much. But besides him, no one else in the welterweight division stands a chance. Middleweight. We have Khamzat Chimaev as the champion, and Khamzat's a huge star. But his last fight was kind of stinky. Also, he fights once a year, and that's not good. But he's still a popular guy, and I think the UFC want him as the champion. After Dricus lost like that, I don't think anyone really wants him as the champion. There's obviously the other pick. Light heavyweight. Shama! There's only one person who could be champion in the light heavyweight division, and that's Pereira. The UFC obviously wanted Pereira to beat Ankalaev, and he did, easily. Pereira's the GOAT of the division. We all love Pereira. But if Pereira moves up to heavyweight, which is looking more and more likely every day, the next big star is Yuri. Great fighter, fun fights, great person. He should be the champ if Pereira moves up. And finally, heavyweight. I don't think the UFC likes Tom Aspinall that much. But in terms of fighters to be champion in the heavyweight division, we ain't got much. So Tom Aspinall is probably the guy. But if Pereira moves up, they'd want Pereira to be champion. But until then, I think they're going to have to stick with Tom. Hopefully Tom can beat Cyril Gane and then fight Pereira. That'd be pretty cool. But what might happen is if Tom's eye doesn't get any better anytime soon, they might just say, fuck it, let's strip Tom and make fucking Pereira fight Gane for the title. But who knows what's going to happen. Hopefully Tom gets back, beats Gane, and we can do Pereira versus Tom. But yeah, those are my picks. If you disagree with them, you're wrong. At flyweight, we have Joshua Van. Bantamweight, Sean O'Malley. Featherweight, Diego Lopez. lightweight Ilya Topuria, welterweight Islam Makhachev, middleweight Hamzat Chimaev, light heavyweight Alex Pereira, and heavyweight Tom Aspinall or Pereira. But it'll be a sad day in hell when Mazar Evloev becomes champ. See ya.